Hey guys, Jay-Sensei here again. This is going to be what if Yuji was born into the Zenin clan, redone. In this one, Yuji would be born as the younger brother of Maki, replacing Mai. He's 1 year younger. But while replacing Mai, I'm basically going to make Yuji the next Sukuna in a sense. At least genetically. This is a spoiler, by the way. Yuji is born into the Zenin clan, but he is a twin in the womb. He eats said twin, and in which he gained the technique she would have, well, he's born with a body of a heavenly restriction. His body kind of does not act how it should have. Excuse me, but, how to put it? His body decreases the restriction a little bit to make room for the cursed energy his body will now have. As he took my cursed energy, and then his body to make his body function properly with cursed energy would sacrifice some of the strength and durability, all that, for the sake of letting cursed energy thrive. Usually was already going to be born superhuman, with or without heavenly restriction, but with that, I would say his strength was then multiplied, but then divided by basically nothing, because it wouldn't have mattered. So even though when he's born, he's basically born like Maki, but he would never have an awakening. So Maki has to essentially get stronger, his body physically will not. If anything, it can get more durable, but that's about it. So, yeah. Physically, in terms of strength and speed, there's not really going to be much changes unless he uses a tool or a Black Flash to alter it. Which, speaking of tools, due to him absorbing Mai, getting her cursed energy, he gets construction. And due to his body sacrificing some cursed energy, well, he would then gain, what was it, he would gain cursed energy on par with characters that are like Choso, so to say, in terms of cursed energy levels, like base special grade level. So, yeah. Okay. So, Yuji has his body being pretty powerful, and he's mostly raised by Maki instead of his mom, who's him and Maki have different moms. He's Ogi's bastard, which is another reason he is not really well trained in the Zenin clan in this one. But, Yuji would more or less just be neglected by the clan due to being the bastard of a higher up in the clan. So, yeah. So, due to that, Yuji would be neglected, so same for Maki. So the only reconciliation they have is each other. Eventually, we fast forward probably like when Yuji's about 9.5, Maki is about 10, about to turn 11, or Yuji's not about to turn 10, Maki's 11, and they would be met in the clan meeting. As they don't really left alone in the Zenin clan because no one cares for them, and Ogi, he doesn't care for them either. But as a father, he has a little instinct to more or less just like, I'm not going to leave them around people who hate them. That's just kind of irresponsible. So he brings them both to a clan meeting between the big three clans, just to more or less discuss what's going on in Jujutsu society. Now, Megumi meets up with Gojo realizes Megumi had the day off school. They say it's like May 5th, like National Children's Day in Japan. Megumi's out of school that day. So this Gojo's Megumi with him, and then the clan heads are all kind of there with their children as well. Maki and Yuji are outside training in martial arts, and Gojo had realized that, well, Maki is a heavenly restriction user, and then Yuji is he's just physically gifted on top of having cursed energy, but Maki seems to be the only one with, like, potential to grow. In the Zenin clan, currently Maki is in the Kukuru unit, and Yuji is in the Hei. Currently, Maki is more like second in command of the Kukuru unit due to just how physically gifted she is. And Yuji's pretty high up in the Hei. But while Yuji and Maki are outside training, Gojo would actually stop by outside once the meeting is over, and she talked to Ogi about training Maki and Yuji because, well, he simply says he knows the Zenin clan won't care about them both, so he thinks he could train them both to be pretty effective. But he points out Yuji's extra eyes and how there's constantly cursed energy leaking off of them. And he thinks that he could probably teach Yuji to learn the 6 eyes, like, well, him. We're not learning 6 eyes, but learn similar abilities to the 6 eyes. Like I said before, Yuji would be very similar to Sukuna. Sukuna having 4 eyes. Yuji has the same 4 eyes, just his are not red. So, yeah. But, Gojo would take on Yuji and Maki, because he has things to teach them both. He has things to teach Maki martial arts based, and Yuji cursed energy based. And Yuji's extra set of eyes, they do function duration 1 to 6 eyes, they're just not really any benefits to it, such as, like, 6 eyes can control cursed energy regulation, all that. All Yuji's do is basically expand his sensory and visual area. He gives him a full 360 view around him, except for like one little blind spot. I compare it to the Byakugan, basically, is what he has. So, yeah. But for about 3.5 years, they train under Gojo. At this point, Yuji's 13, and then Maki is 14. So, with this, they actually decided they want to leave the clan, as instead of Maki leaving Yuji, her only, Mai wanted to be lazy and not leave the clan, but because she found an easy life in the clan, even though it was not good to her and she knew it. But Yuji, Maki's the only person who cares for him. So anywhere she goes, he wants to go. So when they want to leave, due to Maki being the head of the Kukuru unit now, and Yuji being basically number 3 in the Hei, only person above him is Junichi, even then it's only because Junichi has more experience. When it comes to them wanting to leave, it takes a lot for them to be told. First they get told no, then Yuji and Maki Maki says she'll fight her way out of the clan then, and Yuji says he'll fight by her side. They say she would create his own playful cloud, but his is stronger because his is made of pure energy of someone physically gifted. So let's say for a reference, playful cloud amplifies your strength 3 times. Yuji is already over 3 times stronger than the average human, and more energy than the average human. So with this, his energy levels, or his energy levels put into playful cloud, they're probably about 6-ish times stronger, maybe even 7. So with this, well, we put in, if anyone he hits with this playful cloud, more likely have their upper body completely and utterly destroyed. It will be hard to even live from that attack. But it's more like just a threatening notion that of actually hitting someone with it. He does not kill. He would not do that. Maki, on the other hand, he gives it to her pretty easily. So, yeah. Pause real quick. Sorry. But, Maki and Yuji both say they'll fight their way to the clan. Maki's more than willing to use Yuji's playful cloud, even though it'll kill people if she hits them with it. And with this, Naoya tries to convince Yuji to stay, but in the midst of doing it, he mocks, Maki. The only thing Yuji does not play about is his older sister / mother figure. So when Naoya does that, Yuji basically blitzes Naoya, grabs him by the neck, and throws him through a building. Naoya pretty quickly recovered because he broke his fall with a person, or broke his throw with a person, but at least Yuji and Naoya kind of clashing at top speeds. So before, Yuji's basically maxed out heavenly restriction in terms of speed and strength. Sometimes his body will not be able to handle it, but this is one occasion his body can handle it because he's using his body to reinforce his curse energy. Or curse energy reinforces his body. I said that completely backwards, I'm sorry. But while he's doing that, he's able to basically maintain the speed and fight Naoya on nearly equal speed, actually probably even faster than Naoya is, because Naoya is not as powerful as he is in 2 years, or probably about 1.5 years. But still, he was faster in his curse form, and Maki beat him at Mach 3. Yuji moves probably around the Mach 1 to 2 area. Naoya is likely reaching Mach 1, maybe not quite yet. So at this point, Yuji and Naoya might be pretty similar in speed, which allows him to actually land a few blows to Naoya that actually results in him winning the fight. Plus his eyes, being able to kind of see everything, including even the muscles of someone's body, you can kind of determine when Naoya's going to move, and how he's going to move, and the direction he's going to move. A lot more than just basically sees every motion Naoya plans on making. And then he's able to more or less continue to fight the rest of the Hei. But he did wear down a lot of his body by fighting Naoya, so he does end up kind of losing. But good thing for him, Maki finished up the Kukuru unit pretty quickly by using Yuji's playful cloud and killing only about half of them. But led to her pretty quickly jumping in and beating the rest of the Hei for Yuji, then her and him leaving. And this is where they get to Tokyo Tech and officially, quote-unquote, join. Oh, Paul. Sorry. They join Tokyo Tech, and, Maki does. Yuji joins as more like a TA, because he's kind of too young to actually be a first year. But he's able to actually convince Megumi to be a first year, or be a TA with him. So, yeah. Now, Yuji's learning under Kusakabe because he doesn't really have an actual master. Right now, because Gojo's teaching the other first years, being Maki, Panda, Inumaki, and Yuta. Now, when everyone's first urge was to attack Yuta, basically Yuji jumped in the way of all that, knowing that Yuta has really no control over Rika. He can sense it. They're kind of two different organisms. From the way he basically mentioned, like, yeah, she's a curse, but she's kind of binded to him, and he doesn't really control her. It's more or less she acts on his emotions. Well, everyone's like, oh, so us attacking him would make her attack us. Yeah, we get that pretty quickly. So yeah. And due to Yuta not really being too, like, bonded with everyone else, he actually would train with Yuji and Megumi more often than not. Because actually, well, one, Yuta is the only, like, upperclassman that Megumi actually respects. And then Yuji gets along with everyone, so it's pretty easy for him to get along with Yuta. So Yuta has actually, like, how do I phrase it? I can't phrase it properly, but good coordination and good teamwork with everyone else. So yeah. But we go on to probably just the night of like the night parade. On that night, Yuji is walking the streets of Kyoto with Toto, and they're both eating popsicles straight out of the box. So while Yuji and pause one more time. So. Okay. So Yuji and Toto are kind of eating popsicles while they're walking until they see the gigantic samurai-esque curse spirit. When they see it, immediately Yuji kind of just says, "Oh, who wants to fight? Do you want to fight it first?" Then we jump up and kind of punch it in the chest and get flying back. So by the way, here's how they met. It was a goodwill event. That's how they met each other. It's a goodwill event. So yeah, because Yuji's more like a referee than an actual participant. But Toto punched the curse and it's sliding back a little bit. And Yuji would reach into a duffel bag he carries with him at all times, like how Yuta carries his sword. Yuji carries his own 3-section staff, the one that he made when he fought against the Hei. He pulls it out, and it's Toto telling him hit it with that. Toto does that, actually knocking off one of its arms. We throw it in the air, allowing Yuji to jump off Toto's shoulders, catching the 2-section staff in the air, and then hitting the curse so hard that her body basically explodes. Yuji lands in the building and tells Toto about the upcoming crowd a few miles away. They're not at Kyoto Tech yet, but they are going to get there soon. So this, Toto tells his classmates, and then Yuji and him all kind of prep around it, or Yuji and the Toto prep around it, while Yuji himself would go to Tokyo Tech to see what's going on there. But by the time Yuji gets there, he would find Miguel fighting Gojo first, and fights Miguel for Gojo, while Gojo himself goes back to Tokyo Tech. Then Yuji would get there last, and while he's there, when Yuji gets there, he gets there the same time as Toto and the rest of Kyoto. And they had seen Gojo fighting Geto and kill him. Well, not fighting, but more or less kind of dragging him away to kill him. So, yeah. But Yuta mentioned to Yuji that him and Maki were fighting Geto, and they done a lot of damage. But Maki has a cut over her eye from one of Geto's attacks. But after that, we go on to probably the next year. Yuji's in our first year with Megumi, and they have a girl named Kusaki who was recruited earlier on one of Yuji's missions to the countryside. Namaki had awakened a little bit since Gojo had been teaching her, but he hasn't really taught her enough to awaken 100%, as he's not a very martial art-based teacher. Like, he's a good fighter, sure, but not in the way that Maki needs. I'd say currently he's only awakened about 25% of her full power. But Yuji and Maki, they're both assigned special rankings as the first of their ranks, being semi-special grade. As they have the abilities to actually be special grade, but not, like they have the capability to be special grades, well, they are, but they don't have the AP, basically, like, special grades can overthrow a country. Yuji and Maki don't have the AP for that, so, yeah. So, like, they need the AP they need the AP and capability to overthrow a country. But, best way to put it, Yuji could hypothetically become one if he can create a nuke, which he cannot do right now. So, Yuji can become a special grade later on in the future, but not right now. Same for Maki. Well, she'll never be a full special grade, but she has the physical power to be one. So, yeah. On to Megumi, who's actually up, like, well, he's a special grade already. The fact that he's awakened basically all Shinigami except for 2 of them, being Tiger Funeral and Maharaga, being the only 2 he's missing. So yeah, Now, Yuji does go to the countryside alone to get Sukuna's finger because there's really no one who needs to come to accompany him. He's just that high up in culture society, plus he's really well respected. But when he does get to Sukuna's finger, well, he's actually jumped by two curses, Mahito and Dagon. They jump him over the fact that, well, Mahito, knowing that Yuji could likely, well, not eat the finger on his own, plus that, well, he'd probably pretty easily kill Mahito or Dagon alone. The two jump him and fight him. And while they're doing that, eventually it leads to the defeat of Yuji by basically Dagon using his domain, and Mahito configuring the fish into more dangerous weapons. The combination of both their power results in the defeat of Yuji. And while he's asleep, Mahito feeds him the finger, and then actually one more. So, yeah. Now, Yuji had gotten up a while later, but when he gets up, well, it was nighttime and there's flames everywhere. He didn't notice Gojo nearby, so he was sitting down eating ice cream. Either Yuji a popsicle that he'd gotten, and we know that Yuji could have destroyed the entire town, but sometimes Sukuna wasn't able to move at 100%, like Yuji's soul was stopping him. It's the fact that Yuji has basically double his soul power that Sukuna could not overwhelm, despite him and Sukuna being very similar physically. But due to Yuji's warm heart, his body does not allow himself to look, not due to warm heart, but due to such power and willpower, his body does not make him look freakish like it does to Sukuna. But also, he kind of let his abnormality appear wherever he wanted, basically being the two eyes under his own. And the reason this is basically Mai's soul looking out in the world through Yuji's face. That's kind of what it is, that he's letting Mai choose her outlet on how she looks at the world. That happens to be through eyes. It could have been through feel, through hearing. It could have been through any outlet. Her outlet is eyes. And that's what it is, that his eyes are just Mai's. But yeah. So there's a few other explanations that I can go into if you would ask in the comments. So yeah. But Gojo basically arrived because Yuji took long to get back. It was even for such a simple mission. So yeah. But B1 tries like the back at Tokyo Tech where Yuji eats another finger. Then the Roppongi curse is pretty easily handled by Nobara because she's been at Tokyo Tech longer and she's a bit stronger. Then after that we have the Finger Bear mission, and it's actually up to the Zenin trio, being Yuji, Maki, and Megumi. Yuji has Playful Cloud, Maki has a sword resembling Slaughter Demon, this blade being, I would say it resembles the Dragon Bone blade, but has the effect of Slaughter Demon, being that it does extra damage to curses. But the blade actually does, I would say it's kind of like a low-level Maharaga sword, basically. But yeah. It's kind of just like Maharaga's dumbed-down blade. And Maki has that, while Megumi just has his divine dogs. Well, the divine dogs are killed by the Finger Bearer. He would use round deer to basically round up prisoners who are alive or could be saved by reverse curse technique. So with that, Megumi kind of is on search and retrieve. Yuji is fighting Finger Bearer, and Maki's kind of just cleaning up whatever curses are left around the building, because Yuji kind of told her to do that. So Yuji fight the Finger Bearer, and he's actually able to fight it on pretty, equal terms. In fact, the Finger Bearer has high AP, but Yuji can basically just dodge it at impossible to counter speeds. But he would use his own version of Playful Cloud to basically destroy the entire body of the Finger Bearer by smacking it to pieces and eating the finger, which Sukuna does not take over because Yuji has much higher willpower. Or soul power, but yeah. And Megumi found 3 prisoners he could save, so that was good on his end. Later, the Kyoto Goodwill event begins, and Yuji's finally old enough to participate in this one. We fight Toto, and the best way to with this fight is like Samuel So versus Jake Kim, where it's basically just grabbing and punching each other in the face, full force. I'd compare it to their first fight in the Big Deal flashback arc. But Yuji had ultimately won that fight just because, well, 1, better endurance, 2, better strength, 3, aside from Maki and maybe Gojo, he is the most skilled hand-to-hand martial artist in Sorcerer Society alive right now. I'm saying maybe Gojo because of Infinity. So, yeah. Pause real quick. Okay. But, yeah, Yuji beat Choso. Beat Toto. It was kind of even. It wasn't not at all. It was Yuji's favorite the entire time. But it was still a good fight, nonetheless. Next up is Maki versus Miwa, because, well, Mai's there to fight Maki. But when it came to that fight, Maki can just dodge her sword strike and just neck chopped her, because when it comes to Simple Domain, Yuji being the student of Kusakabe, he can use Simple Domain. So, yeah. So Maki has experience fighting Simple Domain users, even punching through Simple Domains. So, fighting someone like Miwa, who has a weaker Simple Domain than Yuji or Kusakabe, it was just nothing. It wasn't really hard to deal with. Megumi and Noritoshi is pretty similar, or not similar, simple, misread that, due to Megumi's wider array of control over the 10 shadows. Most of his shadows, or Shikigami, are maximized, except for like maybe Round Deer and Piercing Ox, being the kind of just upper echelon of real curses, or Shikigami. But also, he can combine the Shikigami not more often, but more efficiently. And if to fight Noritoshi, what he does use is Piercing Ox and Maximum Elephant. Piercing Ox is more offensive, and then Maximum Elephant is more, I would say, distraction-based. Like, spraying water, like, it can be used offensively, definitely, but more, I would say, distraction-based. But combining them together is basically giving the elephant longer tusks, and larger horns, and faster speeds. Basically amplifying the elephant times 10, plus giving it ability of another Shikigami. So with that, it does pretty easily beat Noritoshi, because he can keep up with the curse, and with the Shikigami, and kind of gets impaled on a tusk, and he quits. So, yeah. Then Inumaki and Panda fought Mechamaru. Inumaki would use her speech to make like the missile stop midair by basically like saying, like, stop. And the missile stop midair, Panda would jump through them, and pretty quickly just wail on Mechamaru. At the end of it, Inumaki's throat is bleeding a lot, but Panda didn't really get any damage, Panda didn't get damaged, neither did Inumaki, except from his throat, and they pretty easily destroyed Mechamaru, so, yeah. Nobara fought Nishimiya, and Inumaki basically being Nobara's teacher, so to say. Nobara pretty easily is able to actually, like, be physically above Nishimiya by basically jumping from tree to tree to grabbing the broom and throwing Nishimiya into a tree, and which makes her slump down and then gets choked out by Nobara. After that, when Hanami attacks, Yuji would use construction to create a sword based off of Ogi Zenin. But everyone had noticed in the fight that Yuji seemed to be pretty off, like, he was not as full power. It looked obvious like that. Obviously creating such a powerful sword with a technique imbued in it, but he's done that before and still pushes limits. But this is just different, in their opinion. But onto the blade's ability. When the blade hits plants, the plants seem to combust into flames. And the blade's technique is called flammable touch. And what the blade's ability is, basically anything it touches will ignite. Or will be ignitable, so to say. Or highly flammable. But what it does is basically whatever the blade touches, it makes it highly flammable. And then if the blade were to have friction against whatever it's cutting, even like, it can be like something such as simple as like, it scrapes it gently, flames. Any sort of friction will cause heat. But even more, if it's something stuff as Hanami's plants, combining with just a sword strike from someone like Yuji, who's all brute force. It'll cause sparks and mass flames, which just result in Hanami being put on fire and then needing to retreat. But before Hanami could even retreat, like Yuji just collapsed, and Hanami decided to retreat to avoid burning more of its own plants. When Yuji collapses, Megumi would run and pick up Yuji and mention like he created a whole tool that has at least a grade 1 technique. He's out of the fight. Maybe even he's out of the day. He used up probably about around 90% of his energy to fight Hanami and then use the tool. But when he looks at Yuji pretty closely, his finger had twitched, and Megumi feels a slight difference that he already knows is going to be chaotic. He then dropped Yuji and told everyone, "Move your ass." And everyone listens to Megumi as they all run, and Gojo would be waiting nearby. Sukuna would get up and begin laughing, saying, "This brat could sense I was coming. He sensed my takeover." Mentioned that Yuji created the sword to weaken his body. The sword had a vow in it. The vow to create a technique at expense of Yuji's, physical power for the day, basically. As soon as Sukuna took over, the blade seemed to get, seemed to... No one knows how to describe it. The blade seemed to get stronger. Sukuna even tried to use it to combine it with Fuga, but it did not really work out too well. As the way Sukuna had used the blade, he realized he was getting weaker in the fight. That's how he realized what Yuji was doing. He was trying to weaken Sukuna and bait him at the same time, and it worked. Sukuna tried to use a grade 1 tool, combining it with his own technique that's special grade. It didn't work because Yuji baited him into that. But by the time Sukuna realized it, Gojo ready up a Hollow Purple and hit Sukuna with it. And Sukuna did try to reinforce his body and use RCT, but he still had a lot of damage done. But due to Yuji's body being heavily restricted, already having a healing factor, plus RCT, plus heavily restricted reinforcement, or Crystal Energy reinforcement, RCT, and Crystal Energy reinforcement, RCT, and heavenly restriction, healing factor, plus probably the most durable body around right now, aside from maybe Maki. It's not as bad as what happened to Megumi or Meguna in canon. But there's a lot of bad wounds on it. Sukuna basically had been baited into using weapons that make him weaker, but also the body was already pushed to its limits and low on Crystal Energy. So he was not going to get much in that fight with Gojo at all. So yeah. Later, Yuji and Maki, probably the next day, they're talking when Todo would interrupt. And he actually mentioned he wanted to fight Maki because, Yuji had told Todo that Maki was his teacher. Save for Kusakabe, but Todo had not beaten Kusakabe, but, actually, no, I don't know what I'm saying. Kusakabe is the strongest grade 1 sorcerer, actually. True statement. I wrote it down a while ago. I just never really fixed it. But, Todo more or less kind of mentioned, by the way, if you heard anything else in my chair, I'm sorry. But, Todo basically mentioned that he wanted to fight Maki because Yuji spoke highly of her as his teacher. With this, Maki and Todo do begin to fight. But he also tells her, go easy on me because I know I'm not as strong as you or Yuji physically. But as they fight, Todo actually took a wrestling stance and told her, let's wrestle. They begin wrestling, and Todo actually began laughing with Maki. They're laughing as they wrestle. And they do it for a few hours. They've been doing them in the middle of Tokyo Tech, the point where there's craters everywhere, even through a few buildings from Todo and Maki throwing each other. But once the pause. So Todo and Maki had thrown each other around through a few buildings and everything, but it's quickly repaired. But Maki was actually having fun with it. Todo was obviously the most beaten one. Maki wasn't really too beaten at all. But Todo had given her some experience, as Todo's a hand-to-hand master, plus he's smart, plus he's very encouraging and a decent teacher. And Maki and Yuji are both quick studies, which makes it even better. With this actually allowed Maki to awaken at 25% more of her power, bringing her up to 50% awakened. All she needs is the other 50. Which usually, if he was a good teacher, could have given her, same for Yuta, but they're both really not that great at teaching in general. And for Yaga, who can't really give Maki what she needs. Then went to the bridge mission with Eso and Kechizu, which honestly is not much different in my opinion. I don't think it would be that different. If anything, it'd be easier. So yeah. Now we go on to about a month passing. Yuji had began training under Shoko since he has an interest in RCT. And Inumaki had actually been training with Yuji and Panda because, one, we're working the physical body, and two, to learn better, not to learn better RCT, but to learn RCT in general to heal his throat. Pause one more time, sorry. Okay. So, with that, Yuji's training RCT. Megumi is training to beat the Shigami for Tiger Funeral. Maki is attempting to awaken the remaining 50% of her power. She feels she has some left to awaken, but she's trying to do that on her own now. Nobara is also training with Maki, so yeah. There's before Inumaki training with Panda and Yuji, and Gojo's working on getting Yuta back to Japan, as he thinks that maybe this new and improved Yuta could help Maki fix the rest of her power. But later on, we have Mekamaru, who's still killed by Mahito, and Yuji unlocking low forms of RCT. So, yeah. Now, in the Shibuya incident, when it came to Tokyo Tech students, it was actually more or less that he thought that only Todo should go. But that's for more or less the reason that Todo's the only one who can compete with Tokyo Tech in terms of power, and that because Kyoto kind of have a target on their back from being as physically competitive, if not competitive in general, towards Tokyo, they'd be a liability. They did actually tell them that something different could happen if they were to get tools from Yuji, which he does not recommend, because in fact that he may lose control. But yeah. But yeah, we move on to probably just some of the first fights being probably Yuji in the probably Yuji and Mei in the basement fighting the curses. When it comes to the grasshopper curse, it doesn't really do damage to Yuji to the point where when it starts hitting Yuji, it's breaking its hand on Yuji's body. So that curse loses to Yuji pretty quickly by kind of hitting it too hard and then dying to said hits. So, or dying by hitting Yuji, which Mei actually complimented him on. And well, after that, we probably move on to Yuji versus Awasaka, Yuji and Megumi versus Awasaka. And in that fight, it was more or less that Awasaka didn't know how to damage Yuji, point where Yuji thought of an idea. Is this Megumi, like, if I impale him, will it work? And Megumi and him kind of both thought, like, impaling him might actually work. What Yuji did is create just kind of a small dagger, and he would impale Awasaka with it. It wasn't really a major dagger, it's just a curse dagger imbued with curse energy, and he impales Awasaka with it. And it does kill him, so, yeah. So that, yeah, Awasaka's beaten and dead. And later on, we have to fight against, pause one more time. So, alright. So, I think the next fight I was supposed to go over, after Yuji had beaten Awasaka by killing him, it goes on to Yuji versus Choso. In that fight, they do realize they're brothers, but the rest of the fight, Yuji had more or less been dogging on Choso, because physically, Choso's not as gifted as Yuji is. Like, he can use Falling Red Scale Stack all he wants. Physically, Yuji will be better than him at all aspects. Even if he were to use another tool to amplify his strength, he is still physically better. Choso loses in all regards to Yuji. So yeah, then Yuji would still be knocked out, and then force-fed, like, well, Yuji got fed an extra finger by Mahito, so this would be 16-finger Sukuna. So, if anything, this version of Sukuna is stronger than what he is in canon, pretty easily killing Jogo. Actually, easier than canon, even. And then he also kills, he also kills Maharaga. But when he kills Maharaga, he awakens the ability to use Yuji's construction ability, which Yuji was terrified of, honestly. But yeah, then we have Yuji versus Mahito after that. After that, actually, probably first be Yuji countering. I forgot something important. Megumi and the group versus Dagon. It was before the Sukuna arriving thing. Megumi can use RCT via Round Deer. He can at least heal himself, actually. So, hypothetically, if he were to be able to use RCT on other people, like I think he can, he'd be able to kind of just heal Nanami and Maki's injuries, and Jogo couldn't do a thing about it. Because Megumi can combine all Shikigami into one Shikigami that can use RCT and also be maximized. Or even if he did, he can fend off Dagon and Jogo, which I can think he can actually do, which is why Jogo would leave to go attack Yuji instead. So Megumi actually healed most of his group. Pause. Alright, sorry again. But Megumi likely just spare his teammates from dying and actually helping them recover. But you still probably have to fight Toji. So he fights Toji, probably actually not winning, but he was able to put up a good fight. In fact, he even tells Toji, the girl was in there, he was healing, she has the same restriction as him. Like he mentioned, like, that girl's as gifted as you are. Which kind of makes Toji laugh a little bit. But as he does laugh, Maki would arrive to fight Toji on behalf of Megumi because she was in good condition. So her and Toji fight. And this fight is actually where Maki would awaken fully. Toji being the one that she needed to awaken the rest of her power. And with this, she does beat Toji by actually being able to catch him off guard by awakening. Which she didn't expect that, which does go to him killing her. So, or her killing him. So, yeah. But yeah. So with that, once Toji had been killed by Maki, we can move on again, probably back to what I was saying about Nanami. Nanami being at full condition probably fight through most of Mahito's horde and hold on long enough to fight Mahito until Yuji would arrive. When Yuji arrives, him and Nanami jump Mahito, and then Todo would eventually arrive, leading to a three-way jumping. And then once Mahito is beaten by Yuji, Mahito, and Todo, probably even Nobara as well, because she'll be fine, Mahito loses. He can create a clone, but Yuji can just, create a long-extending weapon to kill him. But then you have Geto probably still absorbing him, and yeah. But there's a key moment I want to take into account, being Kusakabe blocking a Maximum Uzumaki that Kenjaku had used, being made of Mahito's spirit. Some when Kusakabe had to block that Maximum Uzumaki, Yuji actually grab it. The grabbing it immediately just grabs on to Mahito. He's wondering how he does that, but Mahito was kind of still alive in the Maximum Uzumaki. Yuji would grab onto his soul and eat it, ingesting Mahito. He ingests Mahito's soul, being able to actually now see the shape of his soul. The reason he's doing this is more or less to he doesn't get idle transfiguration, but instead he would get the earth energy of a special grade curse. Another one that is. This actually does allow him to actually awaken RCT on a much higher scale, because then he can now see the soul of himself and everyone around him, via Mai's eyes. And then due to that, he can basically see the way Krishna is going to flow, and more or less just, see it before it actually happens. Now with this, he continues going on about fighting Kenjaku and Urume until Yuki arrives, but Yuji just will awaken more and more abilities, until he had awakened not final ability, but a final step. His Krishna energy reaching an all-time high. In fact, probably not as much Krishna energy as like Sukuna or Gojo, I don't know, Krishna energy as Sukuna or Yuta, but in the ballpark of being very similar to Gojo, who does have a lot of Krishna energy, he just doesn't really run out. In fact, you'd probably say Yuji has more Krishna energy than Gojo, being in the top 3 Krishna energy levels now. As Krishna energy levels of below average already than himself, which he wouldn't have that much to begin with, but still wouldn't have any to begin with, but he still has this powerful soul. The power of that soul is amplified, combined with special grade curse being Mahito, but then combined with special grade curse again being Sukuna. So 2 special grades, and then now just awakening, he's able to use Krishna energy levels on a way that no one's ever seen before, except for maybe Gojo or Sukuna, which does result in him creating a soul split katana, but for a whole different reason than what Maki would use it for. As to him being able to see souls, he can see Geto's soul within Kenjaku, and he plans to separate them both. But also due to him having split soul katana, being able to separate souls from things, he can probably separate Gojo from the prison realm. But if you guys want to see that, or have any objections, tell me in the comments, because I'm ending this part here. This is going to rush, I'm sorry, but I hope you guys enjoyed regardless. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.